Big Dan wasn't just my elder brother. We were like friends. We were the closest. We knew each other's secrets. We had each other's backs, always. Our mother had 4 children. He was the first, I was the third, and I was the only girl. From the day I came home from the hospital, Big Dan had always been my guardian angel, protecting me and playing with me. So you can imagine how easily he stepped into the role of a father as soon as our father fell ill. He was in and out of the hospital, and we tried our best to give him the best medical care. Big Dan, my brother, is a computer engineer. He's married to mathematics. He is the king of codes, the emperor of apps, and the emma of complicated equations. But you see, when it came to girls, my brother did not know anything about them. No matter how intelligent, how tall, or how good-looking he was always going from one breakfast to the other, from one heartbreak to another. Now there was this beautiful girl. Her name was Doris. She lived in our house as a tenant in the apartment at the back of the building. She was the first of 5 children and had lost her dad like a year ago. She was a student nurse and she was so pretty and humble and friendly, and I always joked with her that she must marry my elder brother. In fact, when Big Dan heard what I said, he was so upset and he warned me never to say that again. He claimed she was too plain and simple for him. Shebi, you see, this guy no like peace at all. He like problem always. I was in my final year at the college when Big Dan told me he had fallen in love with a Ghanaian girl in his office. Her name was Angela, and the way Big Dan described her, you would think she was an angel. But her pictures didn't lie. She was calm, soft-spoken, and very beautiful. I was excited to meet her. She was going to come around on Christmas Day to see us for the first time, and Big Dan was so excited. At 4 p.m., we were still waiting for her, and she called to ask my brother to come and pick her up after he had been calling her, asking when she was going to come. Her house was only 20 minutes away, but she didn't want to drive the distance. I was taken aback. Didn't she want to see us? Who was this woman anyway? I quickly jumped into Dan's car and we drove to her house. She wasn't even ready yet, so Dan went into the house while I waited in the car, and he texted me, "She's still not ready, she's still not ready." My mom even texted me, "Where is she?" I waited in the car for about 2 hours. After about 200 apologies from Big Dan, our princess finally walked into the car majestically. I had already moved to the back seat. I said hi, but she didn't even smile. I didn't even hear her answer. What kind of royal majesty is this one? I feel Big Dan may have had to even beg her to come. I just said in my mind, "Big Dan, not again. Why does he always go for the wrong ones?" Yes, she was as pretty as it described, but her attitude was cold and unfriendly. As soon as we got home, my mom stood with open arms to welcome her new daughter-to-be. To our surprise and embarrassment, Angela just walked past her saying she was recovering from a sickness. She didn't want Mama to catch it. We were all shocked, especially because in Nigerian culture, we give so much respect to a would-be mother-in-law. For that, I rated her 0/10. Well, it's not my business. She sat by herself and stayed on her phone most of the time. My mom gave up trying to ask questions, trying to start a conversation, and just retired to her room. But you see, Big Dan, he was so eager and happy that she was around and kept talking to her excitedly, and she only replied like she was bored. Which one is all this? However, she tried, because It was the season to be jolly, and she brought gifts for us. We were all surprised and gave us hope that, well, she could be the one. Abby now, she's making an effort. She even joined me when I was singing my karaoke of Christmas carols. My mother wasn't convinced, but we all wanted Big Dan to be happy, so we supported him. But my mind suspected that Big Dan was the one who even bought those gifts for us himself. After that day, Big Dan kept giving us different positive stories about her and how much in love he was with her. He refused to listen to anyone who had anything negative to say about her. We all just kept watching and praying. Her birthday coincided with Valentine's Day, February 14th, and she was throwing a party at her house. She had invited Big Dan, and Big Dan had invited me. So I followed Big Dan to her house, and we were welcomed by her friends and colleagues from the office, which was strange to me. Like, where was Angela? As soon as we got into the room, we saw Angela sitting pretty in the corner with a dark complexioned man sitting right beside her. Are my eyes deceiving me? Who is this guy? And why didn't she even come over to say hi to us? Do you know that this lady didn't even act like she recognized us? My brother and I sat opposite her and the guy, and her friends attended to us, giving us food and drinks, talking to us, chatty. But Dan just kept smiling and continued playing with the friends. I was observing, but I was not happy. What did Dan see in this lady? Is it because she walked like a goddess? I was getting fed up. Angela and this guy were whispering and giggling. I felt so uncomfortable that I had to step aside to cool off. I was enraged, especially since I knew how great a guy my brother was, and he has done nothing to deserve this kind of treatment. I thought of Doris and how she would be the perfect fit for my brother, because this humiliation he's taking is too much. After a few minutes, Dan came out to check on me. KK, he said, don't worry. He was looking at my frown. That guy is her ex. I've met him several times. The guy is just being clingy. He doesn't want to accept that she has moved on. Honestly, I looked at my brother. If I could shake his pains back to reality. I was just about to say, bros, please let us stop deceiving ourselves, but Madam Angel just came out and hugged my brother and took his hand and brought him back into the house. She did not even acknowledge me or my greeting. This is serious. I tolerated the remaining time we spent there. Angela kept switching between both men, and it was very disgusting to me. On our way home, Big Dan began to lament, saying he felt sorry for her ex because Angela was no longer interested in him, but the man didn't want to give up. He said the guy should calm down because he was now in the picture. He even said he wanted to have a word with the man, but Angela told him that he shouldn't. He should just calm down because she had everything under control. I couldn't help it. What kind of clay did he use to mold this, my brother? Big Dan, I said, this girl does not love you. She has no respect for you, and I can bet you she is still actively dating that man you call her ex. Big Dan refused and tried to convince me that what they shared was special. I just shook my head in pity. Nothing could convince my brother otherwise. Our father's case became worse, and finally came the bad news no one wants to hear. It was a sad period for us and everyone who knew him. Of course, Big Dan took over the planning, the meetings, and even comforting us and our mother. I'm telling you that not for once did Angela come to visit us. In fact, through it all, I asked Big Dan, where is Angela? And he said she was busy at work. He was still hopeful, but I knew that that lady did not like my brother, and I prayed his eyes open this time around. In fact, I prayed that God will use this moment of grief to take his attention away from her. Meanwhile, Doris had come to visit in this moment, and she was always with us, cooking, checking on my mom, helping us to prepare for the burial. She came every evening after work, as she had become a midwife now. One day we were together in my room, and she was telling me how she handled grief when I told her the pain I felt about my dad was just too much. When she told me all the things she did, and she told me about how she overcome the challenges even when her father died, I was grateful for her help. That night, Big Dan came to my room and told me that he was eavesdropping and he heard what Doris had said. He was really impressed by her intelligence and wisdom. I was happy, but he told me not to keep my hopes up as he was still in a relationship. I couldn't laugh. What relationship? Should we tell him? My father was buried in the compound, and everyone who knew us came to visit, as my father was a kind man while he was alive. I was so busy supporting my mom, attending to guests, but I spotted Derry several times, serving visitors, arranging chairs. Even her younger brothers joined in fixing tents. She did all this joyfully, and I was impressed because she really had no reason to. But guess what, though? When the party started, my brother was called to dance, and from nowhere, Angela and her friends arrived, spraying money on Big Dan. Hey, we were surprised. She danced with her friend. Even Doris served them food when they sat down. Everybody was just looking at them, but deep down, the idea of Big Dan and Angela was like the walls of Jericho, soon to fall down flat. Doris became a frequent visitor in our home. She came to check on my mother. She checked on her blood pressure and her general well-being. Everyone was in love with her already. Everyone except Dan. But we knew it was a matter of time. Big Dan began to see the light. Doris began to enter Big Dan's eye. He also began to target when Doris would come, and he would just try to talk to her like he's not interested. She was a family friend, so we'll all just and play until she would go home, and Dan would appear from nowhere and walk her home. Big Dan confessed to me that he was never really attracted to Doris at first sight, but he has a peace anytime he talks to her. Angela was trouble, and that chapter is closed. The joy in my heart when he said that. Please think about settling down with Doris before somebody will snatch her away from you. He laughed. He said, don't worry, I'm building my house. It's almost done. When everything is set, we will take the necessary steps. Tell me why. Tell me why. Just tell me why 5 months after the burial, I'm in my room home alone and I hear the bell ring. Who is that? Everyone in this house has a key, so who will ring the bell? I opened the door to see who it is. Angela, in tears, walked into my living room. I have never been so shocked. She kept sobbing. I was confused. What happened? I asked, what happened? And she said, KK, I need your help. He will only listen to you. Please help me. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And she said, I need Daniel back. I'm ready to build a life with him. Please, KK, help me. And she knelt down and held my feet. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and like and share so you can be notified when we post the conclusion. Thank you so much, and see you all in the next one. Season's greetings.